Hello, Internet. Hello, Sam, and welcome to After Campfire. I feel like we don't actually have fires in After Campfire too often, so fire! I'm home. I'm home for Thanksgiving, and it's a little chilly. Not that chilly. It's LA cold, so I'm like, oh man, I don't want to put a hoodie on. So, fire. It's very nice. It's very nice. Um, But yes, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Sam. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's watching, even though Thanksgiving was yesterday. But I did Thanksgiving with my mom and her family and stuff yesterday, and I did Thanksgiving with my dad here, which kind of rolls into Henry's diary of how to adult and my question to Sam, which was about I'm just gonna do my question first, which was like, what are the things you don't really talk about on here? And Sam was kind of funny because he's just like, I don't talk about anything bad. And for me, I guess that makes me a little bit more open, but I obviously hold back quite a lot because, like, talking about my family is not something I'm gonna do in here because, like, I don't know if I've mentioned my parents haven't been together since I was 13 on here, and that's like not a hidden piece of information, but it's not something I'm gonna really randomly mention on here. But like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about like friends or family or anyone who like I don't know any negative stories. If like, oh, a friend is visiting, if especially if it's a camp friend, it's like, yeah, Sydney was here, or like I don't know, but like I'll talk about that stuff. But like if stuff is seriously rough or there's like something obviously really personal, I'm not going to talk about those things. But no, I don't know. I guess I don't really hide a ton. But yeah, those like relationshipy kinds of things of like family, friends, romance, all that doesn't really get brought up here because like I feel like it's the same thing with like I don't know some of the job stuff when I was looking for a job where I'm like same thing with like a potential job or like potential girlfriend or whatever. I'm like, it's kind of like jinxing it to bring it up on here, so I'm not going to. I probably wouldn't ever until something got like serious enough that like I felt like this was a secure thing that would be going on for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to tell the world about every date I've been on and stuff like that. But yeah, fire. I'm home. So that's my Henry's diary of how to keep on adulting and stuff. So I think because Sam's injured or sprained ankle, I don't exactly remember what state I was in at work during my last episode. I know that I was talking about the idea of doing each next episode in a different room of my new place, but I'm not there, so I'm not going to do that this time. But so at work, I'm changing teams. That's been weird because as soon as I switched teams, my old manager was like, "Hey, so we're gonna take you back to our team for like a few weeks." I'm like, "Okay." They needed me to work on like one more project, and it's like, this is strange. And my new project is difficult, but that is work, I guess. But all of these things that we were just talking about leads to Sam's question, which is, what does like having space mean to you? And he kind of was talking about the ideas of like, I mean, he like hinted at like space in like a romantic thing or having space like physically. Well, he said, what does it mean to you? So for me, I mean, there's like the two meanings of having the physical space. And I guess in that way, I will interpret it to having my own space and then having space in like relationships between like friends or romance or whatever, which is like having your own mental space. So I guess the way that I'd kind of describe it is that it's just having the ability to have control of yourself independently of others. Like, I feel like having space is just like the ability to just be like, I'm gonna go do my thing, whether that is home, whether that is in a relationship of being like, I cannot deal with this right now. I'm gonna go over there, and you're not going to. And with a home, that's like, I haven't had a roommate since college, but like I haven't had an issue with sharing spaces, and that's like one of the things that kind of scares me about the concept of like a really serious long-term relationship is I'm very anal about my own spaces. Like I remember like talking about, I'm anal about my spaces and my things and my settings, and I'm like, just don't touch my things. I like to control my own space. Like now I'm talking more about the physical spaces than the like interactive spaces. But like, I remember Alicia gave me a bunch of crap when I visited years ago, and she like started Breath of the Wild on my Switch, and she was like, and I made her a little account on my Switch so that she can play it. And then I told her I was going to delete the account after. And she's like, but why? Like, I want to have this save. I'm like, because in my brain, every single time I open my Switch now, all year round, I will have to click a game and then select, I want to play as Henry, every single time. But Alicia's not gonna, like, I only see her like once or twice a year. I don't want to have to see that all freaking year. If I lived with someone and they use my Switch all the time and they use my profile, that's one thing. But in this context, very annoying. But I find things like that to be very important to me. Having control of decisions and settings, and like I know like people like joke about like, oh, the dad controls the thermostat, shit like that. Like I don't need that exactly. I just need to know that I will be happy the way things are. And like in relationships, I need to be able to comfortably step away and do my own thing. And if someone's gonna force themselves on me, that relationship's not gonna work. This year has been interesting. I haven't gone into the details of any of that on here. Those are the kinds of things that I don't talk about on here. But alas, it is what it is. But it makes me think of the opposite thing, which is just kind of, what does space mean to you? But I guess, what do you think, I'm just trying to phrase of a question of like, how do you interact with people's space? Like, what do you think your presence does to a person? Do you think like they find it encroaching, or like how do you manage all of that? I don't really know how to properly word this question, but just like, how do you manage your interactions with other people's space in any way that you define space when you answer that question? Good luck with that one.